great time of the year. Conference tournament play all over the place. Nobody better to talk to than Dan Bonner, of course, CBS Sports college basketball analyst. He's been calling these games since 1988. And as we say hi to Coach, and thank you for joining us, as soon as I saw 88, I'm from Michigan, I thought Ramil Robinson, but I believe, Coach, that was 89. Do you remember that Michigan team with Steve Fisher taking over?
Well, I think that was 89. That was the year they lost to Seton Hall they beat Seton Hall.
Correct.
When they made that free throw. So, I think that was the year.
Yeah, you nailed it. It was Ramil Robinson.
They all run together after a while, Patrick. I can't keep them all straight.
I know, Coach. We were just talking Mountain West, so help me out here. We understand that San Diego State's going to get an at-large bid, regardless of what happens in the conference tournament. But do you have thoughts, Coach, on a team like Boise State, a team like Nevada, or a team like Utah State? Where are you on a conference like the Mountain West?
Well, I think the Mountain West has had a great season, that they're a great conference. I think New Mexico, that has lost a lot of games in the Mountain West and is probably out of the at-large picture, well, for sure out of the at-large picture, they really helped the Mountain West by winning, their first 17 games or whatever it was. They were the last undefeated team in the country, and then they stumbled. But I think that's a really good league. And, I don't know anything about this science of bracketology, and it pains me to say that. We call it a science now. Back, we used to not know, and we used to guess, and we started guessing about this time of the year. We've been doing this since November, for heaven's sakes. But most of the bracketology people think that Boise State is in, and they're going to be a 10 seed or thereabouts, so they're not even one of the last teams in. And I was just looking, because I'm working the Mountain West Championship game out where you guys are, as a matter of fact, on Saturday. And so I was just looking here at Jerry Palm, CBS's guy, and he has both Utah State and Nevada in as 11 seeds, although they're two of his last four in. So I think San Diego State obviously is very comfortably in. Boise State is probably in, unless they have a total disaster in the Mountain West tournament. And then, I think that both Utah State and Nevada could get in, depending upon how they play in that tournament.
I'd like to see that happen. That would be great. I think the league's deserving that. Coach, I want to go to a league you're very well-versed with, which is the ACC. Two teams in Triangle Park area, Raleigh, starting with NC State and then UNC. Do you believe, both these teams get in, one or none?
I think that North Carolina State is probably going to get in. They have a resume that right now, if the tournament were going to start right now, they would get in. I think that they would be wise not to lose their first game in the ACC tournament. But I think if they win that, then they probably get in. And North Carolina, I think that they have to perform very well in the ACC tournament. I would say that at a minimum, to get an at-large bid, they would have to make a run to the championship game. Again, last year, if you looked at what the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee did, they didn't really place all that much emphasis on what a team did in a conference tournament. I mean, Texas A&M went to the championship game of the SEC tournament and did not get in. And so it's possible that North Carolina might actually have to win that thing to get in. Here's an interesting thing for you. For North Carolina to get to the championship game or to win the championship game, one of the teams they will have to beat is Virginia. And if they beat Virginia, that'll probably drop Virginia's net. And so North Carolina right now has one quad one win, and Virginia is 30 in the net, and North Carolina beat them at home, which makes that a quad one win. That's 1 through 30. So if they beat Virginia, Virginia probably drops in the net, so that's no longer a quad one win. Although if they beat Virginia on a neutral court, that would be their quad one win. But one way or another, if they get to the championship game of the ACC tournament, they'll only have one quad one win, and I think that'll really hurt them.
Nobody knows Virginia more than Dan Bonner. Of course, CBS Sports played there. I know Amal loves Miami. Of Miami, Virginia, and Duke, Coach, can either of the three actually contend for a national championship this year?
Boy, that's an interesting question. I think each of the three can make a deep run in the tournament. I mean, Miami is so good offensively, and this is a game that in this day and age of college basketball, we always talk about how it's a guard-oriented game, and Miami has one of the most dynamic backcourts that you'll ever see. They don't have a lot of size, and, sometimes they're a little weak defensively, but boy, can they put points on the board. And that's something that doesn't happen a lot in college basketball. So I really like Miami's team. Duke is playing much better. They're on a bit of a roll. I'm going to be curious to see how they perform in the ACC tournament, but they have gotten better and better all year long. I still don't think they're sufficiently dynamic offensively to actually win a national championship, but they could get to the Sweet 16, maybe even the Elite Eight. I think they're that good. And Virginia, with the way they guard you, they will be in any game that they play. And with the way they can't score, any team they play is going to be in a game with them. So I think, are we going to see the Virginia team that scored 80 points and beat Baylor, or are we going to see the Virginia team that scored 57 points and was lucky to beat Notre Dame? Virginia is really a mystery to me. If they score well, I think that they can legitimately contend for a national title, but I'm just not sure they can score.
And it also helps to have a guard like Kihei Clark now in his 14th year at UVA, so that's always going to be a bonus for them. Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about which team you believe, doesn't have to be the national champion, but a team that either you believe can be a surprise Final Four team or a team that you feel comfortable and confident they're going to get to Houston for the Final Four.
I don't know that I feel comfortable and confident with anybody.
That's fair.
I think that this has been such a crazy season. Normally I would say that Houston would be somebody in which you could have a lot of confidence. But again, they play at a relatively slow pace, and sometimes they struggle to score. Purdue, I would have said, if you asked me this question a month ago, I'd have said Purdue for sure. But Purdue, they lost a couple of games, and so I don't know that they're playing particularly well. I'm going to give you a team that nobody is talking about as a potential national champion. But after watching them last night and following them all season long, I think that everybody, nobody is talking about Gonzaga, and, maybe Gonzaga is a team this year that can sneak in there and win the whole thing.
What did you see, Coach, from Gonzaga last night against St. Mary's?
Well, I thought they played very well. They moved the ball on offense. They found Timmy inside. They played very well defensively. They looked to me like were getting contributions from everybody. Of course, it was a blowout game, and so obviously they played very well. But that's what caught my attention, that they played very well. And if I think they played like that, they can beat anybody.
Patrick, I was going to say I agree with Coach. You and I talked about it yesterday. I think because this team has struggled a little bit, they forgot how good this Gonzaga team can be.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.